Hey everyone, welcome back to another video with me. I'm Nikki, and if you haven't subscribed, if you don't know who I am, go ahead, hit the button, subscribe, because I'm helping you make things for your friends and family. All right, so today we are keeping up with the, the whole let's get ready for the holidays feeling. And I am going to show you today how to make a simple clutch purse. Okay, so the items that you're going to need are listed down below. Let's do it. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare that inner pocket. All right, so put that outer to the side, put those scraps to the side. We're going to work with the lining fabric. Lay out your rectangular piece. Go ahead and grab the pretty side of the lining piece pocket. Okay, pretty side. I'm going to lay it right here because I want it to be about 1 inch from the folded line. So what you're going to do at about 6 inches down, okay, that's where you're going to place your pocket. Okay, 6 inches down. Okay. All right. I'm going to pin this in place. Let me pin it a little bit lower because we're going to write on there. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead with your ruler. We are going to mark for our zipper area. So I'm going to make a mark here at about, I'm going to go 1/2 inch. I want to try to save as much of this pocket space as possible. Okay. Now my zipper is this long, 9 inches, but I don't want my pocket to be that wide. Okay. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to mark, how many inches is this? I am lining up from this inner pocket piece here, from this line right here down is 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's where I'm lined up all the way across. And now I just want this zipper pocket to be 5 inches wide. Okay, you can make yours wider if you would like to. Okay, now that we have this mark from the top, what I want to do is I want to mark a 1/2 inch down from that area, 1/2 inch down from where I made the first notations. Okay, I'm drawing a line. I'm going to connect this line as well. I'm just creating a rectangle here. Okay, what I'm doing is I am getting ready to position to make a spot for the zipper that's going to be inside of the bag. Now that we have that rectangle, which is, like I said, 1/2 inch down, okay, and then I made another line 1/2 inch from this initial line here, we want to find out the middle of this point right here. So we're going halfway between that line. Okay, this is what we have right now. Okay, I know it's a lot of halves. I'm drawing a triangle here. Okay, this triangle is what's going to be the area that we use to fold back for our zipper. So right now, what I'd like you to do, head over to the machine and we are going to sew around the outer rectangle area. The outer, we're going to sew on that line, the outer rectangle area. I am sewing on 2.5. Turning. The clutch pouch or pocketbook is a very basic bag, and so I'm just trying to enhance the bag a little bit, just so that you have a little bit of privacy to put items inside of the bag. Okay, grab your seam ripper, because what we want to do is we want to open up this hole, open up this area here for our zipper to lie in. So I just used my seam ripper to rip a hole there, and now I'm going to use the scissors to go all the way over. Okay. I am snipping to the point. And then I'm going to snip back on these triangular pieces as far as I can without cutting through my stitch line there. Okay. I'm doing the same thing on this side. Let me turn this around and now do this side. This line that we're cutting here, that's going to be the middle of the zipper. Okay, I can tell I'm going to need a new pair of scissors. Okay, clipping on this other triangle. Be careful not to clip your stitching. Okay, see, I like to leave the least amount of room as possible because I know I can sew 1/8 of an inch to grab that pocket. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We want to take this lining piece and push it inside the hole. You're going to need your iron. Okay, and we want to get this to lie flat. So we should have like a nice little window here. Okay. I grab my iron. Okay, and I'm going to take it from this side just because it's a little easier. Okay. The idea is where the seam line is, we want the material to lay flat. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flatten this. Now the clutch pouch can be made without a zipper, but it's so simple that I think that it needs something to dress it up a little bit. So that's why I'm putting a zipper inside of it. Okay, so I can see right here, I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to roll this down a bit. All right, I want to get rid of that fabric underneath. I don't want to see it. So you might have to roll back your seam a bit. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, at this point, I'm going to grab my zipper, okay, and I'm also going to grab some double-sided tape. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of the double-sided tape on the zipper here, top part of the zipper. This is going to be very helpful in securing the zipper so that it's easy to sew and attach to the fabric. It's going to stay in place. I don't worry about putting the double-sided tape the whole length of the zipper. I just need it for the most part to keep the main part in place. What I'm going to do is open up this zipper to the middle. We want to bring this down. The idea is we want this zipper to sit right inside of this square. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. It'll position itself. It's sliding on the double-sided tape there. Okay, so I'm going to remove the sticky part. I'm going to remove the tape part. This way the double-sided tape will adhere to the fabric as well as stay on the zipper. Sticking to my finger. Okay, I'm only taking one side off at a time. And now I'm placing very carefully the fabric onto the zipper. Good, I like the way that looks. I'm happy with that. And now I'm going to do the bottom portion. Okay, so lifting this up, take off the bottom. Okay. And now we want to slowly position the remaining portion of the fabric. I'm going to move this. Make sure my teeth are closed a bit. Okay. Now, depending on how much of the fabric you would like to see underneath, how much of the zipper teeth fabric you would like to see, that's how, you know, you would determine where you're placing your fabric. I don't like to see a lot of the zipper teeth, a lot of the fabric on the outside of the zipper teeth. It's a personal choice. Okay, I'm just going to give this a tad bit of heat. I like using the all-purpose zippers because, one, you can cut over them, I iron over it. Yeah, I like using them. They're very flexible. They're forgiving. Okay, at this point, I'm going to sew very close to the edge, 1/8 of an inch all the way around this rectangle. I don't have to worry about it shifting because that double-sided tape is doing its job. I like to sew right over that zipper. Metal zippers are nice, but you can't sew over them. I'm going to lift this up so I can bring the zipper down and then go right back to what I was doing. I'm almost back at the beginning here. Be sure to backstitch. Okay. Looking for my snippers. Okay, so now the zipper portion is ready. Okay. All right, go ahead, and what I want you to do now is I want you to turn it over, okay? And you're going to snip the ends of your zipper. If you have a long enough zipper, you're gonna snip the ends. I'm gonna snip these. And so I don't have to worry about this metal portion. I'm gonna just snip this before the metal portion. Okay. Grabbing the other side of the fabric for the pocket, I'm going to place it face down there. Okay, and at this point, what we're going to do, you can pin it if you need to. Well, go ahead, let's pin it. This is going to form the pocket portion. Okay. What you're going to be doing, you're going to be connecting the top the fabric from the top with the fabric that's attached to your zipper. I'm not going to pin my top because I'm going to start sewing there. The idea is we want to sew around all of these raw edges, but you're going to have to move the good fabric, the pretty fabric from the outside. You're going to have to move it and shift it as you sew around the pocket. Okay? So I'm going to start off, and I flipped mine so I can see the back. Okay? So I can see where I'm sewing. We're going to sew all the way around. You're not leaving any hole. You're sewing all the way around. Lining up these raw edges here. I like to get as much pocket as possible. So I'm sewing very close to the top of the pocket. Okay, now you see this here? What I want to do is I want to move this out of the way. I'm turning. Getting down to the bottom. And again, look at this right here. I'm balling this up. Well, not balling, but I'm holding this so that it's out of the way. Coming over to this portion, pivoting. Let me go back a little bit. I came too far off. Okay, pivoting. And now look, I'm going to move this out of the way on this side again right here. Okay, see this? I'm just going to hold this out of the way. Okay. And now the pocket would be complete. There's no need for you to clip off the ends because this is inside. Normally I would say clip off your corners, but you don't have to for this particular piece. Okay, you don't have to iron it right now because we're going to be flipping this right side out, and so you'll just be wasting your time. Don't worry about that. There's your pocket. The pocket is there complete. So there's a little bit of privacy. Okay. The clasp that you're going to be using, if you're not using a magnetic clasp, if you're using one like this, we're going to just work with this piece right here for right now. Okay, so this is how the clasp looks, okay, for the clutch. Okay, so go ahead, we're going to separate that. We're going to work with this portion right here. Okay. Okay, so at the width of your clutch is 10 inches wide. We want to put this right in the middle. Okay, so at around 3 inches from the bottom, what you're going to do, let me see, is this, yep, 3 inches from the bottom. What we want to do is find the middle of this. So you see how this is 10 inches wide? We want to put this, we want this portion here to go right in between, so that it's right in the middle. This is going to be at the 5 and the 3rd, between the 5 and the 6th there. Okay. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So go ahead and mark. Okay. You know, mark on your, I already made my marks here. Okay, so you're going to mark, grab your seam ripper. Okay. My interface is already adhered to the back of this. So because my interface is already on, I didn't iron it on camera. So yeah, if you're confused, I just realized that. So iron on your interface before you get to this part. Okay. I just like, wait a minute, did I mention that? That interface needs to be on there. Okay, I'm now grabbing this clasp. Okay, I'm going to stick it through the hose so that it sits up just like that. Okay. If it's easier for you to use the magnetic clasp that I use in my wallet video, in the simple wallet video, go ahead and, you know, use that magnetic clasp. I just wanted to put on something different for this particular clutch. Okay. All right. So squeeze those down. I'm right here like, okay, got it. All right, squeeze it so that it lays flat. That kind of hurt my fingers. Okay, all right, so now what we want to do is prepare to put your lining attached. I know we didn't do the other part yet. We're not ready for that yet. What we want to do is go ahead and put your fabric so that it is pretty side facing the pretty side. But look at this. I want to show you so that you know which way you are putting you know, your zipper pocket. This right here, when you fold up the pouch, when you fold up the clutch, okay, this is technically the bottom of your project. Okay, you see that? It's the bottom of your project. When it folds, it's going to come up. Okay, this portion is coming down. So you have to keep that in mind when you are actually going to sew your project, because here is the final, this is how it's going to look for the final portion. Okay, you see this? That's why you want to make sure you're paying attention to which way you're putting your zipper. Okay, so your pocket should be face up towards the top portion of your project. Okay, you don't want it to end up down there. Okay, all right, so pin around the sides. Just be careful, this portion is sticking up under there. Okay, pin around the sides. We're going to sew around these 4 sides. We're going to leave a portion open in order to flip this. Now, because I'm using the Peltex, I don't have as much flexibility that I would normally have with, you know, if I was using the Pellon 809. Okay. But I'm going to make this work, because the Peltex, because it's thicker and it's harder, it's going to make this clutch look really nice. You could also use Decoville if you have Decoville. I do have some Decoville. I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. I just chose to use the fusible Peltex for this project, but Decoville is really good for clutches and bags. Okay. So I'm just going to pin this so that you see where I am not going to sew. And because I'm using a thick interface, because I want the outside of this to be really nice, it's going to be a little bit tougher for me to turn. So that's why I'm going to leave a little bit of a wider hole. But I'm really going to iron it before flipping it to make it easier. Okay, in we go. And I'm going to sew on 3.0. Let's see. I might go to 3.5. I don't know yet. Let's see. Oh no, that's good. 3.0. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually make this a curved pouch, curved bag. So before sewing it, you could actually just take your ends and curve them, cut them. I didn't do it before doing this. So if you want to make it, you can actually just use the edge of something like some tape or any curved item that you have, and mark the outsides of your mark the outside curves. Okay, and that will give you curvature. Okay, I'm just going to clip these corners to reduce the bulk. So yeah, guys, I pricked myself. Okay. Soften up, you know, Pellon. Pellon will turn easily. But anything thicker, like if you're using Decoville, yeah, add a little bit of heat to the interface to get it, you know, to soften up, to turn. See, once I put on a Band-Aid, now all of a sudden I'm critical and can't turn this. Okay, it's going, guys. Wow. All right. Push, push, push. Okay. See, this is the reason that I chose to use the Peltex, because I wanted it to be firm as a clutch and not use the fusible fleece. Y'all know I like fusible fleece, but yeah, I didn't want to use the fusible fleece for this one. Kicking it up a notch with the nice clasp, the nice hardware. Okay, I'm poking out these corners. Okay, there's that nice inner pocket, which is a good addition to a clasp. I mean, to a clasped clutch. Some clutches are, people just put zippers on the top of them. So I just figured taking it one step further will make it a little nicer. This is going to be nice. All right, so now I'm going to apply the heat to get this to lay flat, to flatten down my seams. So we want to close up those edges. You cut these. All right. Fold it in. This is going to be on a fold, so I'm not worried about it looking perfect at this moment. Wow. Betting 1,000 here with this. Okay. From this portion. Okay, now what we want to do, we want to close this up. We're not ready yet for the outer clasp yet. Okay, that's good. Okay, so at this point, what we want to do is we want to find the middle. Okay, so we want to fold this up. There we go. We want to fold this up. Okay, and then this is going to come down like this. Oh, you might want to cut your threads off. Okay, so great, that looks good like that. All right, so now let's focus on putting this second portion of the closure here. You want to put this on here to connect here before you actually sew up your sides. Once you sew up your sides, you won't have access to do this. Okay. All right, so we're going to do the same thing that we did. We're going to mark, you can open this up. We're going to mark the middle of our bag. We want it to be about 1.5 inches up. I'm placing this here, and what I want to do is create the circle. I'm going to draw a circle here to get this shape, because we're actually going to cut right through we're going to cut right through this fabric, both the outer and the inner, because this is going to lie inside of it. I'm going to unscrew this. Wait a minute, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay, small screw. Take these out. Okay, if you're thinking about ways to improve your bags, this is one of those ways that you can do that. Okay, grab your seam ripper, and we want to put that seam ripper in there, and we want to dig through here. Dig through so that it goes through your lining fabric there, okay, as well as the outer. I'm just cutting with the back of it. Okay, so as you can see, I made my way through. Okay. All right. I don't want to use my scissors because, I don't know, because I don't want to ruin it. Let me see if this is good enough. Nope, it's not wide enough. I have to go wider. Okay, let's see. Let me check. Okay, so we're at the point where finally got out all, after prodding and, you know, cutting, and finally got the hole opened up. And now what we're going to do is just prepare the clasp portion, the other portion of the clasp. This is the plate that eventually this here will go through. Okay, so we're going to put that down on the bottom, and what we want to do is you want to make sure that you have just a tiny bit of fabric right on the outside of this, nothing in the middle, but a little bit of fabric on the outside. Put your plate down on top, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's sitting down right on top of here, and what's happening is the holes are right there. It's okay if you have a little bit of frays there, because the fray from the fabric is going to hold the screw in. Oh, fancy. Okay. Okay, let's move that. All right, let me reposition this now. Okay, there we go. We have to reposition. All right, and now going to get these teeny tiny screws, and oh really, we're going to put the screws right inside of the hole. I'm not going to screw it tight yet. I'm going to put the other side on, and then I will screw it in completely. These things are little. Okay, maybe I can. All right. Okay, and now, oh, I can see that didn't go on evenly. There we go. There we go. Now I'm holding it on. Yep, finagling. Okay. Okay, let's see. All right. Now what we're going to do, now that that's in, what we're going to do is finish this up. So now that the clasp is done, what we want to do is flip this over, and on the bottom portion here, on this side, we want to top stitch right across this, this bottom area. And we're going to do that at 1/8 of an inch. If you did use Peltex, it might be a little thick, so you might want to bump up your machine. Make sure that you are at, 3.0. I'm going to move down a little bit from where my needle would start so that I'm back stitching to start. Because sometimes going over a thick corner to start with is not as easy. So I put it on just a little bit further from where I would normally start and then back stitched. And I'm just back stitching. Okay. All right. The reason that you want to increase your stitch length is because when you're stitching through multiple layers, a small stitch length will be really, really difficult. Okay, so that's holding down the inner seam on that side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to close this up so we can finish it. So I'm just folding this up, and what I'm doing is I know that this is where I want my fold to be because I folded it, while sewing, and I know that I wanted this to come down to a certain point. So I'm folding this up so that the right sides are touching, so that it's at the 5 inches from the top. Okay, so it's at the 5-inch mark. Okay, and I'm just going to pin these. When you backstitch, if you happen to see some of that thread, don't worry about it. You're not going to see it when we close it up and when you flip this. Okay. All right. If you use the Peltex, it's a little thick, which is good for when you flip it, but it's hard. It's gonna test your patience when you're sewing it. Okay. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my machine to a zigzag stitch for the ends. You can do a straight stitch if you want to. I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch just because I feel like it's going to, you know what, you can do this. Look, you can do number 2. I've done number 2 before where it puts the extra stitches there, or you could do number 4. Okay, whichever one you want. But because of the thickness, if you're using Peltex, I do not suggest, 0 or 1. Okay, the purpose of a clutch is so that your material is not flimsy, but because you're not making it flimsy and we're doing it a little thicker, you actually have to change your stitching, to make it strong. I'll go on number 2, and I'm going to be at 3.0. It's going to sound like the machine is doing double work because it's putting extra stitches there. Okay. Now, what I love about sewing the seams from the inside instead of the outside, you'll notice it's going to make the flap a tad bit wider when we flip it because your seams are here inside, and I love that. So I love the fact that it's going to make your outside flap just a little bit wider. You'll see when we're done. So now I'm going to do the other side here. And I'm sewing at 1/4 inch seam allowance, or you can just line up the edge of your fabric with the second guide marker. Okay, great. Now this is the part where you will want to grab your iron, not because of the wrinkleness, but because again, you want to, wow. I am a pin destroyer. Because you want to give your material, if you're using something thick, you want to give it a little bit of heat so that when you flip it, it's a little easier for you. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm doing the same thing. And if you've done the simple if you've done the simple wallet with me, then you know. Okay, let me just, okay, it's being crazy here. Okay, then you know that flipping sometimes right side out is a little tough. Okay, okay, while that's hot, I'm gonna go ahead and see how easy it is when you put that heat. That was easy, that was nice. All right, I'm going to poke out my corners. I did not, did you notice that I did not clip my corners because the seam is too thick. All right, I'm poking it out. Nice. So remember when I said that it's just going to, doing the seams in the inside is going to make your bag seam, the top, it's going to make it seem a little wider. Well, it is going to make it a little wider. Look at it right here. You see this? And that's kind of nice because it just shows that it's the, watch this, when you close it. This is where if you have a label, you know, you can put your label on it yourself, but look, I love the way it hangs over a tad bit. Look at the, you see that where the seam allowance is from the inside? You see that? But I'd rather not see any stitches on the outside, which is why I like this method. You know, not to see the stitches. Now, you could put a strap if you wanted to. That will be, you know, that's okay for a clutch. But for me to do a clutch, I would think that's almost like a handbag. And the purpose of this project is not for it to be like a handbag or not for it to be like a crossbody. The idea is for it to be a clutch for the hand. And so, yeah, I kind of like this. I love the idea of, you can put a magnetic clasp if you don't have one of these, or if these frustrate you, because, you know, we know how that is when we're sewing. But yeah, it's, you can put, it's a nice little, upgrade from a simple purse. And that inside pocket is in there as well. Okay, if you made it a little bigger without this magnetic clasp here, if you did a regular magnetic clasp, it can actually be a laptop bag, a laptop pouch, and so a sleeve. Okay, I'll see you at the next video. Bye guys.